I'm Adrian, the cruise and travel guy. When it comes to Alaska, everyone will show you glaciers and wildlife, but there's a few truths that I've learned after my second cruise there in 10 years that no brochure will tell you and that could make or break your trip. Remember, when you're planning your next cruise or holiday, head to my website first where you can search, compare, and book. Alaska is by far one of the world's most scenic cruise destinations, so much so that I've now been twice and I live on the other side of the world. The truth is, beautiful landscapes exist everywhere in Alaska, plus there's the opportunity to spot wildlife and buy lots of jewelry and diamonds. Trust me, there's a reason almost every Alaskan port feels like a diamond district, and I'll come back to that. Over both trips, I've learned more than a few lessons that I think you'll benefit from when planning or preparing for your own Alaskan adventure. This is also just the beginning of my Alaska cruise series. There's plenty more to come. If you've completed any research into Alaska, I can almost guarantee that you've already read about the weather. It's rainy, it's cold, it's dry, it's hot. The reality is, that's all true. While I was preparing for my trip, I mentioned on Facebook that I had purchased some thermals which would come in handy on an upcoming cruise excursion. But the responses that I received would seem to indicate that I had made a mistake. People were saying, hey, it's Alaska, it's summer, all you need is a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. That is very, very wrong. First of all, yes, the Alaskan cruise season coincides with the Northern Hemisphere's summer months, but that does not mean heat waves. The weather there is about as fickle as anywhere else. Our Alaskan cruise started in late August, typically a rainier month. Over the course of our 2-week cruise though, we had pretty spectacular, sunny, warm days. All that said, the only thing you can do to counter the unpredictable nature of the Alaskan weather is to pack appropriately. It's all about layers. You really need to prepare for 4 seasons. Sometimes you'll experience them all in one day. I highly recommend a good quality insulating puffer jacket, a beanie, and even gloves. And then much lighter layers, things that you can easily remove while you're touring around towns that might be warmer than on board the ship, things like zips or cardigans or hoodies. Of course, a rain jacket and umbrella are also a must. You might not need these things every day, but when you do need them and you have them, trust me, you will be very, very happy. But even if you are layered up perfectly, there's another decision that can make or break your Alaska cruise, and that is the ship that you choose. This is where I can see a lot of first-timers going wrong. Alaska is a very inaccessible place, which makes it perfect for cruising. It is so port and itinerary driven though that the ship you cruise on can really impact your overall holiday and experience. On big mainstream cruise lines like NCL, Royal Caribbean, and Princess, your inclination might be to go for the newest, fanciest, biggest ship, but in my opinion, that can be a mistake. Choose an older, smaller ship for the benefits of fewer passengers, lower prices, and sometimes even better and more usable outer decks. Something very important to take advantage of Alaska's scenic cruising and wildlife spotting opportunities. Alaska is so much about the destination that to me, the ship is very secondary. If you can, choose an even smaller cruise ship, something like Oceania or Azamara, Silversea, Regent. In fact, I just returned from my Regent Alaskan cruise, my first time with the cruise line, so you can expect to see that cruise review video on my channel very soon. But even once you've chosen your perfect ship, the towns you'll visit are a whole other story. Alaska has unashamedly become a hub for cruise tourism, but that kind of results in 2 Alaskas. The first is the absolutely stunning natural landscapes and vistas, the wilderness, and the adventures you can find on offer. The second is the more touristy, kitschy, but still fun townships that make up a fair few of the typical cruise itineraries. Both sides are really quite delightful for their own reasons, but depending on your tastes, you might want to sort of preference one over the other, or make sure you get a good mix of both. Places like Juneau, Skagway, and Ketchikan have distinctly touristy sides, with lots of souvenir and jewelry stores, and many times the staff will even beckon you inside as you walk by. It's a far cry from the natural beauty of Alaska, but it just comes with the territory when literally thousands of tourists descend on a town for a few hours out of the day. Still, as touristy and kind of kitschy as it can be, if you approach it with the right attitude, a little bit of a when in Rome kind of way of thinking, you can still have a lot of fun. Like at the Wild West themed Red Dog Saloon in Juneau, where we enjoyed might be a stretch, the infamous duck fart shot, and Tracy's Crab Shack, where we got to enjoy a bucket of Alaskan king crab legs. Both fantastic memories for us, but maybe not the right fit for everyone. That's why doing port-specific research before an Alaskan cruise is so valuable and can help make sure that you enjoy your time there. And I do have another video coming soon that focuses in on the ports, so I can't wait to share that one with you as well. So once you've dodged the diamond shops and crab shacks, you'll face something else entirely: the price tags on excursions. Just a quick note, if this video is helpful so far, I would really appreciate if you could give it a thumbs up. Joining tours and excursions to get out of town centers is really worthwhile in Alaska, and there are some terrific options to consider in each port. Whale watching, helicopter and float plane tours, train trips, nature walks, jet skiing. There's so much on offer, but the cost can definitely be up there. If you're budget oriented, my top tip is to pick one or two things that you really want to do. If it's something that's a little bit extravagant, sort of put more of your focus on that so that you can really tick one of those boxes. Whether it is jet skiing or walking on a glacier or doing some sort of dog sledding thing, I think you should really find the value in doing one of those items or activities during your time in Alaska. You'll also find a lot of repetition when it comes to tours in different ports in Alaska. So if you have done something extravagant somewhere else, well, in another town you can really focus in on just being touristy and enjoying it for that. Of course, you should always take a look at your cruise line's tour schedule or tour options, but if you're comfortable making private arrangements, Alaska's pretty easy to do that. You can either use a service like Shore Excursions Group, I've popped a link in the description below, or you can even walk off the ship and try and organize something with private tour operators. There are plenty around, and they are used to dealing with cruise ship schedules and cruise passengers. But as always, if you do something private, you have to remember that it's your obligation to return to the ship before it leaves. If the price of excursions hasn't fazed you, then the crowds might. In the peak of Alaska's cruise season, it's not uncommon to see 5 cruise ships dock in town on the same day, making it feel more like Times Square than Alaska. That can mean almost 15,000 people descending in a town on one day. For that reason, it's all the more important to do some research beforehand and better understand what you want to see or get out of your visit to any of Alaska's typical cruise ports. Make plans ahead of time to give yourself more of a chance to relax and enjoy each port for what it is and what you want to get out of it. But of course, there's something else. Not all cruises get you into the depths of Alaska in the same way. This is the part where really checking your cruise itinerary is important because they're not all built the same way. Many cruise lines run northbound and southbound itineraries that bounce between Alaska and Vancouver. These are usually shorter, around 7 days, and offer more immediate access to Alaska's many ports and sites. Then you'll find longer cruises that typically run return trips outside of US cities such as Seattle and San Francisco. While these might look more appealing because they're longer, they don't always spend any more time in Alaska itself. Instead, you'll find more days spent at sea as the ship navigates to and from Alaska. The tip here is just really to check your itinerary and don't just assume that a longer one means that you'll have more time in Alaska itself. And once you're there, the star of the show is pretty obvious. The big appeal of any Alaskan cruise is the incredible landscape, and a lot of that you will actually enjoy from the ship itself. Hubbard Glacier, Glacier Bay National Park, and Dawes Glacier are all popular and typical cruise destinations for scenic cruising. They're all amazing in their own rights. I had the pleasure of sailing through Glacier Bay National Park on my first Alaskan cruise 10 years ago, and it was incredible. During my recent cruise though, we skipped Glacier Bay National Park in favor of Hubbard Glacier and Dawes Glacier, which is accessed via Endicott Arm. Even though Glacier Bay National Park is a highlight and many agree it's something to aim for, I have to say that standing on deck, rugged up, holding a hot chocolate at Hubbard Glacier, I didn't miss Glacier Bay National Park at all, and I realized in fact that this was the moment that I'd been waiting for since booking the trip. The reality is that sailing into and out of ports, which isn't really even recognized on cruise itineraries as anything special, is just as scenic as the Scenic Cruising designations. The sights are just amazing, and I encourage you to spend as much time as you can outdoors, or at least near a window or balcony. You just can't go wrong here. Every view is jaw-dropping. Knowing this information can have a definite impact on your cruise experience in Alaska. Knowing what you can do to best prepare yourself for your Alaskan cruise will set you up for an incredible holiday. As with anywhere in the world that does become heavily dependent on tourism, there are of course some quirks and challenges, but the payoff is very clear. You are exploring one of the world's most stunning regions. This video is just scratching the surface. I have plenty more to come, including my dedicated Regent 7 Seas Explorer review. Let's just say that despite the unrivaled luxury moniker, it wasn't all smooth sailing. I'm very much looking forward to bringing you that video. Make sure you subscribe for free and hit the bell notification to stay up to date with my next installment of my Alaskan cruise series. If you've been to Alaska, maybe you can share your tips and tricks with any other viewers. And if you are planning a trip there, I hope that you found some value in this video. If you haven't done so yet, you can give me a follow on Facebook and Instagram at The Cruise and Travel Guy. And as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.